Welcome back to the Island of Misfit Toy Collectors. It's me, Dreadnok Ryan, and today I'm asking the question, could 2023 be the year of the Dreadnoks? Is this the year that we see more and more and more of this quirky, quacky, off-the-wall subgroup in G.I. Joe? As many of you know, my name kind of gives it away. I am a huge fan of the Dreadnoks. I'm a huge fan of Zartan and, of course, his brother, sister, and daughter. And with the group of, gang members that they have, I think they just add some depth and dimension to an already amazing brand and stories that we see with G.I. Joe. So today we're going to look at some of the original O-ring figures, some of them from the modern, and then, of course, some of them from the Collectors Club. And we're going to see which ones we think will make it, which ones may not. And then just really, I want to get your feedback as to who you would like to see, who maybe you don't really particularly care for, but might be okay with it, or some that you just like, please don't give us that particular figure. So let's get started. So, of course, we already have Zartan and Zorana, which have been released by Hasbro for the classified series. Super 7 has done Zartan for the reaction, and I wouldn't be surprised for some of their ultimates that we see some of the Dreadnoks being added. I wouldn't be surprised if we get to see Zartan, possibly Zorana, from Mezco as well, too. But I think if we're truly looking for the growth in the Dreadnoks line, it's probably going to be coming from the classified series. We did hear news that the Transformer G.I. Joe crossover of the Thunder Machine with Soundwave is going to be happening, and the figures that will be included will be new O-ring figures of Zartan and Zorana. But I know I want to see more Dreadnoks, and if Hasbro does continue with the O-ring figures, I hope that we do see some re-releases of, let's just say, some of the OG Dreadnoks, and then possibly some of the newer ones as well. So for classified, we know that we are getting Buzzer and Ripper. Torch has to be rendered or just rumored release soon. I wouldn't be surprised if we don't see mention of him at the next fan stream, but definitely somebody that we are going to need added to the Dreadnoks for the classified series. So for these three, I think we're going to definitely see these being added to the classified series. Let's look at the next tier that I hope we get to see. I have a good feeling about, but we'll find out more. Road Pig is a big, chunky, mean son of a gun. And if you listen to Lenny, you know that he does love Road Pig. Anybody who swings around a cinder block sledgehammer, carries around a roadside shield, has to be included in the classified line. Seeing what they were able to do with Serpentor, making him a scale a little bit bigger than most of the G.I. Joes, I'm hoping that we get to see Road Pig maybe a little bit bigger, maybe closer to that 7.5-inch scale. Xandar, I'm surprised we haven't heard anything about, but let's be honest, Xandar is kind of one of those forgettable characters. He did have some small runs in the Sunbow series and had a really fun story arc in the Devil's Due run as well, too. But I think if you have Zorana and Zartan, you've got to include his brother. Monkey Wrench, I think, falls into those OG3 Dreadnoks that we have already heard and hoping to hear. But with his inclusion, it just seems like a must. He had such a fun run in the Sunbow series with the Rise of Pentora Rise, how they brought him into the Dreadnoks. It really helped develop the character. And of course, we have to speak about Larry Hama and how he helped develop most of these characters through their file cards. And I think that's why I did fall in love with these Dreadnoks. This is where I think I'm struggling the most. For a while, I've thought, man, the Thunder Machine has to be the next HasLab. But the more I think about the HasLab, you really have to have it be a vehicle that you might not see, or that they're going to take it to such a level that it just truly makes sense for it to be a HasLab. We've seen what they've done with the HISS tank, and I think what the design team did was awesome. They've added light up features. They added storage in the back of the HISS tank. And of course, it comes with all of the additional accessories as well as the extra figures. For the Thunder Machine, though, you're looking at maybe some of the light up light bars for the police sirens for them to work. I could see maybe some, blast effects either for the Gatling gun, the minigun in the front, or for the jet engine in the back. But it also makes me wonder, could this be one of those vehicles that's just an upsized version of the original that we got in the O-ring size? If it's something that we can put together as collectors, add the decals, that should help save on some of the manufacturing cost. But I think it would also allow more collectors to jump on board and pick this particular vehicle up. To me, the Thunder Machine is not just a vehicle, but it's truly a part of the Dreadnoks. And the other problem you run into is, what kind of stretch goals do you include with the Thunder Machine? You know that if we're going to get Thrasher, it's hard to take a character that has meant so much to a particular group and kind of build them behind that HasLab of the only way that you can get this particular figure. Maybe if it's a general release or a fan channel release, this will help put it in the better price range where more collectors can justify spending the money. And then two, you don't have to worry about what other figures can you include with this as part of those tier unlocks for the funding goals. So at first, I'm all for the HasLab, but I think if Hasbro can figure out a way of just releasing this particular vehicle in the 1/12 scale through retail, I don't see it going through Walmart or Target, just because, look, we haven't had great luck with larger vehicles in the 1/12 scale. In some of the brick and mortar retails, they just tend to go to clearance just due to cost. But I think if it's something that you can order online, that would help everyone. Two figures. I know if you've had a chance to catch my top 5 off the wall crazy figures that I hope we get, Naugahid's already on there. I've already spun my praise of this particular figure. I think he's just absolutely fun, and it's a must that you need to include him in the Dreadnoks. It also gives us another fun little animal character to include. Who can't think that a wild boar wouldn't be fun to add? Make this guy look like a little bit like a cross between a muscular crocodile Dundee and maybe some off-the-wall big mustachio poacher, and I think you have a home run figure. Zanzibar is one of those figures where you either hate him, really don't like him, or you're considered crazy and love him. Well, I fall into that crazy and love him. There's something about that original O-ring figure with that little tuft of hair at the top of his head that just tickled me. I thought it was just a fun inclusion for the particular, for these Dreadnoks. And with his air skiff, it was just such an off-the-wall, crazy vehicle that fit into the Dreadnoks that this was a must figure for me. I did also pick him up with the modern era version, as he was part of the Big Bad Toy Store exclusive pack. And I think that redesign, they hit a home run with him. There's something just about pirates that maybe he just belongs in the Pirates of the Caribbean, but he ended up in the Dreadnoks. So I'd like to see what they could do with the classified figure of Zanzibar as well. Here's some of the newer modern era figures. Of course, you have Burnout, who I believe was originally in the Vala versus Venom line, and then Storm Rider, who came with the Pursuit of Cobra. Storm Rider, I thought, was a great addition to the Dreadnoks. He came with a trike that had double machine guns that would pop up in the front with bladed wings in the back, and he also would shoot a nail gun. Such a fun addition to the Dreadnoks. Of course, with the Dreadnoks Australia on the back of him and having the tats, I would love to see this particular figure be added into the classified line, and then hopefully maybe get a 1/12 scale trike that could be used multiple times for the Dreadnoks. Burnout, I think, is just another character that we do need to see. uh, helps fill out a little bit more of the Dreadnoks rank. I don't think we could go wrong with having a ton of Noks. These are two figures that I know we have to see. One we already have, but I would love to see that San Diego Comic-Con exclusive repaint of Zorana and the Cold Slither gear. There's just something about the all black and the star tattoos on the side of her head that just made this a must for me. And then, of course, Zaina, who really got developed during the Devil's Due run for Zartan and became his right hand, I think also is a must addition for the Dreadnoks. I think it's just another strong female character that we could add into the Dreadnoks, as well as helping to establish her in the classified series as being, an important part of the Dreadnoks as well, too. Heartwrencher was one of the last figures that the Collector Club released. Of course, they did use a repainted version of the Vamp. This was such a cool club exclusive to pick up. It wasn't as expensive as I thought it would be, and if you look at some of the prices on the secondary market, it's absolutely silly. But again, Heartwrencher was part of the Devil's Due. We need more females in the Dreadnoks, and I think this would be a great addition. If Hasbro is going to make the Vamp for Clutch, then that we'll get the Vamp Mark II, a Stinger. So picking up Heartwrencher with a repainted Vamp is a must as well. So let's hope that Hasbro does see the importance of including a Vamp in the classified line, and then hopefully we get to see Heartwrencher come down the road. Some of the exclusives from the club, some I like, some I don't. I think the Dreadnok Rampage set, while fun for this particular set, I really don't want to see the Dreadheads. I think it was an easy attempt by the club to get a set out of a very popular group. The club also put out Dreadnok Chaos, which, while this particular figure was mostly a kit bash of a number of different G.I. Joe figures from the modern line, I just don't know if having a faceless troop builder is what the Dreadnoks really need. I think if we're talking Dreadnoks, it's all about the individuality of each character that makes that group what it is. The club also produced the Zartan as he's transitioning into Hawk. Now, while this was a very fun 3-pack, and I would like to see what Hasbro could possibly do, Lenny and the design team, I think if this is something they are looking at, it has to be some sort of club, or not so much club, but like a con type of item, either PulseCon, 1027, or San Diego Comic-Con, something like that. I think it would be a perfect set because only true Dreadnok fans would really want this, but it wouldn't be something that all classified collectors may need. One figure that I know I'm going to beg for is Zartan in the Ninja Force colors. I think the updated modern version that the club did was an absolute home run. And if they are going to give us Storm Rider with that trike, this is another one of those opportunities for them to bring that bike back and offer it as an addition, as well as getting out another Zartan. So again, I want to thank first the photos that I received from GeneralJoesReborn.com, from Surveillance Port, and of course Carson over at 3D Joe's. Thank you for setting up those databases where we can get all of this information from. You guys are all great. I also want to say again, thank you to everyone who subscribed to the channel. You guys continue to humble me every single day, seeing all the kind words, sharing all of your play patterns that you did as a kid, sharing your love for this particular line, telling me which figures you want to see. And I just can't say enough. Thank you, thank you, thank you for everything that you guys have done. Again, you guys are all legends. Thank you for all the support. We'll keep putting out this content. And remember, we are all Dreadnoks for life. So have a great day, evening, morning, depending at wherever you're at on the island. But more importantly, you guys are what makes this community great. And again, from the bottom of my heart, thank you for all the support. And we'll be talking to you guys all soon.